Surprise! Another video from my old channel that I'm just reposting. Are you amazed? No, neither am I. Enjoy. Good morning, guys. So today I want to talk to you about how to be a writer. Again, this is something I get asked about quite a lot, and the questions I want to address in today's video are: what tools do I need to be a writer? How do I come up with story ideas? And how should I format my manuscript to send it to a publisher? Also, you might notice that today I'm in my own room again, as opposed to a hotel room. So over here you can see my cute little poster wall. So to start off with, I want to talk about what tools you need to be a writer. You are the main tool, let's face it. I mean, you and your imagination, not even your writing ability at this point if you're just starting out, because writing is definitely one of those things where practice makes perfect, and the more you write, the better you will become. You know, you'll find your style and you'll know what works for you, what you like writing, what kind of genres, characters, etc. Often I actually get asked, you know, do I need a particular notebook or a special program to write my stories in, things like that. And to be honest, no you don't. So I have a cute little notebook. You might like the Wattpad sticker on there, and this is where I keep like a bunch of my story ideas or notes that will be relevant to my story. But I do most of my writing in Microsoft Word, just because that's what I like to do. I prefer to do that than handwrite. Also, if you're writing on a computer, make sure you keep backup copies. So for instance, I know I bang on about Wattpad a lot, but just saying, so if you wanted to write a story in Wattpad, you could do that from your computer, your mobile device, etc., and just save it as drafts, go back to it later or post it, or whatever you want to do. It's whatever works for you, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, to be a writer, you just kind of write. So secondly, I want to talk about how to come up with story ideas. So I actually have this really great Writing Wednesday post by young adult author Alice Oseman, author of Solitaire and Radio Silence, and she wrote all about how she comes up with story ideas, so you might find that post really useful. I'll put a link in the description for that. But to be honest, my main piece of advice that I would give you here is write the kind of book you'd like to read, because that's what I always say, to be honest, whenever I have to do events and I'm talking about writing. I say write the kind of book you'd like to read. I feel like that's something that works really well, especially for me. So say you have a history degree and you know a lot about the Victorian times. Doesn't mean you have to write a book about the Victorian times. You can write, you know, dystopia or contemporary romance or basically whatever you want. I just think that if you write the kind of book that you like reading, then you're actually kind of already familiar with the genre, like the little nuances involved. Basically, all I'm trying to say is that if you write a book that you'd like to read, you end up being more passionate about it. And I think also a lot easier to get inspired, because you can just read a book and you can think, well, I love this kind of dynamic they've got going on, or wow, that plot twist was amazing. I want to do something that awesome in my book. So the third thing I wanted to address in this video was how should I format my manuscript to send it to a publisher. So if you watched my other video a couple of weeks back about how to get published, you'll be aware that I said typically you don't send your manuscript to a publisher. You will send it to a literary agent first, because most major publishing houses will not accept unsolicited manuscripts, and this means that they will not let anyone send their manuscript in. They want it to come through an agent. So some publishing houses aren't like this and they're happy to take submissions from anyone. Obviously there's self-publishing as well and things like Kindle publishing, but to be traditionally published, most of the time you need a literary agent. Actually, the question you want to be asking is, how should I format my manuscript to send to a literary agent? And again, it's kind of up to you to a certain point. This is where I'm just gonna say disclaimer, I don't know how much help I'm going to be when it comes to literary agents, because I know why you need one and I know basically how to get one, but I cannot give much advice on the actual writing to and submission to a literary agent, because I didn't do it the conventional way. Basically, I got published when I was 17 by Random House. They got in touch with me directly, which is very unusual, and then after I had the 3 books from that contract published, The Kissing Booth, Rolling Dice and Out of Tune, I then got in touch with some literary agents and I basically emailed a few on recommendations from my old editor, and I said, hi, I'm Beth Reekles. I'm a published author with Random House. Here's some information about me and what I've done in the last couple of years. I'm looking for a literary agent and I was hoping maybe you'd be interested and I could talk to you. And that's basically how I got my literary agent now, Claire Wallace at Darley Anderson. But saying that, I did a lot of research when I was probably about 16. So just after The Kissing Booth got really popular, and I thought, hey, maybe I could make this writing thing into like a career or something at some point. I looked into how to get published, which is why I know how like that side of the process works as well. And literary agents will have on their website submission guidelines. So sometimes they might say in that, sorry, we're not accepting submissions at the moment, check back in a couple of months. Or they might say, sorry, we're not looking for any sci-fi at the moment. Or, sorry, we are only looking for sci-fi at the moment. Relevant Writing Wednesday post in the description. Often, actually, they just want, say, the first 3 chapters. Or at least, if they say 3 chapters and they don't specify the first 3, send them a consecutive 3 chapters. Don't send them chapter 1, 8 and 27. Send them a consecutive 3. They might say something like, hey, we want your manuscript submission to be double spaced, in which case, like, go ahead and do that. While I'm talking about literary agents submissions, this is why I think it's easier to write online, or at least in Microsoft Word, because like most people will have Microsoft Word on their computer, they'll be able to open that, especially like the literary agents. If you want to edit, it's a lot easier than having something that's handwritten, I think. But also, it's a lot easier to send out than if you've got like a couple of pages that you've handwritten, and then you have to copy them out to send them over and hope that they can like read your writing. It's just a lot easier to have an electronic copy to email out. I get asked as well when I'm asked about sending off manuscripts, what size font am I supposed to use, what font am I supposed to use, please help. So I personally like having Times New Roman size 12 and with the justified alignment, so it's like that. I mean, that's my personal preference. If you want to write in like Arial or Calibri, no one's really gonna mind too much, as long as it's not like, you know, Windings. Is that how you say it? Windings? You know the one I mean, with the funny characters. I think actually that pretty much covers everything I wanted to in this video. So hopefully you've taken away something useful or helpful from this video. And the main thing I'd like you to remember is that to be a writer, you just have to write. And I wish you the best of luck with that, because I know it's not the easiest thing. And good luck, of course, if you are trying to get published or if you're sharing your work online. Good luck with that too. Stay tuned and make sure you subscribe for more writing advice from me, as well as other bookish things and things just going on in my life in general. If you have any other questions, feel free to tweet me. I'm at Reekles on Twitter. Remember to follow my blog, Instagram, etc. All the links in the description. And I will see you guys again next time.
Yes, I forgot how awful the video quality on that video was. I'm so sorry about that. I'm going to try better next time. I say that like it's not the same camera I'm using every time, but I'll try.